My beloved child, listen to me in the deepest place of your heart, because what wounded you was not the whole story. What you felt was real, and I do not deny the ache that moved through you when the person you loved, trusted, prayed for, waited for, or expected to stay began to turn away. I saw the silence that came after their words. I saw the way your heart searched for reasons. I saw how you wondered if you were not enough, if you had loved too deeply, if you had believed too quickly, if you had given too much of yourself to someone who could walk away as though your presence had never carried weight. My beloved child, I know what it felt like. It felt like abandonment. It felt like being replaced. It felt like being ignored after you had opened the tender places of your soul. It felt like betrayal from someone whose name you carried in prayer. It felt like being pushed aside by hands you once thought would hold you carefully. And because the wound came through a person, you thought the meaning of the wound was rejection. But I am asking you to let me speak over the place where pain has tried to become your interpretation. I am asking you to be still long enough to hear me rename what the enemy wanted you to misunderstand. It was not rejection, it was rescue. It was not humiliation, it was protection. It was not the end of love, it was the end of bondage, disguised as love. It was not me standing far away while your heart was broken. It was me standing near enough to remove what your emotions were too attached to release. There are connections that look warm in the beginning but slowly drain the oil from your lamp. There are people who know how to touch your loneliness, but do not know how to honor your calling. There are attachments that feel like comfort for a season, yet beneath the comfort they begin to pull you away from peace, away from clarity, away from prayer, away from the person I am forming you to become. Do not call my protection abandonment. Do not call my mercy cruelty. Do not call the closing of a door the failure of your worth. Some doors close because the path behind them cannot carry the future I have spoken over you. Some voices grow distant because they were never meant to have permanent authority in your life. Some people leave not because you were unworthy of love, but because they were unable to walk with the weight of what I am preparing for you. And if I allowed them to stay beyond their appointed season, their presence would have cost you more than their affection ever gave you. I do not blame you for grieving. I do not condemn you for missing them. I do not rebuke you for remembering the good moments, the words that sounded sincere, the promises that gave your heart a place to rest. A tender heart remembers, a loyal heart hopes, a loving heart looks for what could still be restored. But my beloved child, tenderness without discernment can become a doorway for repeated pain, and I am not teaching you to become cold. I am teaching you to become guarded in wisdom, gentle in spirit, and no longer available to what breaks your peace and calls it love. As it is written, keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. I did not say guard your heart because your heart is evil. I said guard it because your heart is precious. I said guard it because not every hand that reaches for it is sent by me. I said guard it because what I placed inside you must not be handed casually to those who only know how to receive your warmth but not honor your soul. What comes from me will not require you to lose yourself in order to keep it. What comes from me will not demand that you shrink, beg, chase, compromise, or live in confusion just to feel chosen. So before we go deeper, pause for a moment. Let your breathing slow. Let your heart stop running back to the place where they left you. If this message is speaking to the season you are in, receive it with humility. Like this video as a small act of agreement that you are ready to see your pain through my protection, not through rejection. Subscribe for more God-centered encouragement, because I am teaching you how to heal without hardening, how to love without losing yourself, and how to discern without fear. And write in the comments, God protected me from the wrong people, not as an empty phrase, but as a declaration over the wound that has been trying to define you. My beloved child, the deeper message is this: what left your life did not escape my sight. What ended did not surprise me. What broke your heart did not cancel my promise. I was not absent in the silence. I was not passive in the departure. I was rescuing you from what you could not yet recognize, removing what could not go where I am taking you, and making room for the peace, purity, love, and purpose that will not require you to be broken in order to belong. I saw the nights you asked why they could leave so easily. I saw you holding your phone, looking at messages that were no longer answered with the same warmth, watching words become shorter, watching affection become distant, watching someone who once made space for you slowly make you feel like an interruption. I saw the silence that felt louder than an argument. I saw the way your mind went back through every conversation, every moment, every small change in their voice, trying to find the place where you became too much, or not enough, or somehow unworthy of the care they once seemed eager to give. My beloved child, I saw the tears you wiped away before anyone could ask what was wrong. I saw you trying to act strong while your heart was asking questions you were ashamed to speak. I saw you wonder why they could sleep while you were restless, why they could laugh while you were grieving, why they could move forward while you were still standing in the ruins of what you thought was mutual. I saw you feeling foolish for caring. I saw you feeling embarrassed for missing someone who had become cold toward you. I saw you trying to make sense of sudden distance, unanswered messages, changed behavior, delayed replies, empty promises, and the painful confusion of being treated like a stranger by someone who once made you feel chosen. I do not condemn you for loving deeply. I do not condemn you for hoping sincerely. I do not condemn you for believing that someone who entered your life with warmth, attention, tenderness, and words that seemed to understand the hidden places of your heart was meant to remain. I do not shame you for trusting. I do not mock you for remembering the beginning. I do not look at your tears and call them weakness. Your tenderness is not disgusting to me. Your loyalty is not something I despise. Your desire to love and be loved is not something I reject. I formed your heart with the ability to care, to feel, to give, to believe, to pray, and to see beauty where others may only see convenience. But my child, I am teaching your tenderness to carry discernment. I am teaching your love to walk with wisdom. I am teaching your heart that access is not the same as assignment, that attention is not the same as covenant, that chemistry is not the same as confirmation, and that not every person who knows how to touch the wounded place in you is sent to protect the precious place in you. There are people who know how to awaken hope, but do not know how to steward it. There are people who know how to speak softly but live carelessly. There are people who can make you feel seen for a moment while still being unable to honor the fullness of who you are. You asked, was I not enough? You asked, did I miss you? You asked, was I foolish to trust? You asked, why did they make me feel chosen and then make me feel disposable? You asked, why did they draw near with warmth and then leave with coldness? You asked, why did I feel peace in the beginning if pain was waiting at the end? And I am not angry at your questions. I am not threatened by the trembling in your heart. I know the difference between rebellion and wounded searching. I know the difference between accusation and a child crying in confusion. Bring those questions into my presence, but do not let those questions become chains around your identity. Their inability to remain did not prove that you were unworthy. Their coldness did not define your value. Their silence did not erase the beauty I placed within you. Their departure did not mean that heaven agreed with their treatment of you. Sometimes what leaves exposes what was never rooted in love. Sometimes distance reveals what closeness was hiding. Sometimes a sudden change uncovers a truth that affection had covered for a season. And though the revealing hurt you, the revealing also protected you, because it is better for a heart to ache in truth than to keep resting in an illusion that would have slowly stolen peace. Do not call yourself foolish because you loved. Do not call yourself weak because you hoped. Do not punish yourself because you believed words that sounded sincere. The lesson is not that you should never trust again. The lesson is that trust must be tested in my light. As it is written, beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits whether they are of God. I did not give you that word to make you suspicious of everyone. I gave it to make you sober, awake, and covered. There is a difference between a guarded heart and a hardened heart. A hardened heart refuses love. A guarded heart lets love pass through wisdom first. The problem was not that you had love to give. The problem was that you gave unguarded access to someone I was trying to reveal. The problem was not your compassion. The problem was that compassion without discernment kept explaining away signs I was allowing you to notice. You felt the uneasiness. You sensed the inconsistency. You noticed the way your peace became fragile around them. You felt yourself checking, waiting, wondering, apologizing for needs that were not sinful, shrinking so the connection would not break. And still, because you loved, you tried to cover what I was trying to uncover. My beloved child, I do not shame your tenderness, but I will not allow your tenderness to be used as a doorway for bondage. I will not teach you to despise your heart, but I will teach you to stop handing it to those who only know how to stir it and not how to protect it. Not every person who makes you feel understood is assigned to walk with you. Not every person who enters gently carries holy intentions. Not every person who says the right words has the right fruit. What comes from me will not leave you begging for basic honor. What comes from me will not make you question your worth every night. What comes from me will not require confusion to survive. So let me sit with you in the wound without letting the wound become your name. Let me hold the part of you that still asks why. Let me answer the shame that says something must be wrong with you. There is nothing wrong with the fact that you loved. There is something I am correcting in the way you gave access before discernment had time to speak. And this correction is not rejection. This correction is love. I am not taking your tenderness away. I am placing wisdom inside it, so that the next time someone reaches for your heart, you will not only ask, do they want me? You will ask, do they honor what I carry? Do they draw me nearer to you? Do they protect my peace? Do they bear fruit that agrees with their words? Stay close to me, my child. Let the tears come, but do not let shame interpret them. Let the questions rise, but bring them back to my presence. I saw every night. I heard every unanswered cry. And even there, while you wondered why they could leave so easily, I was already teaching your heart how to stop abandoning itself for those who were never sent to protect it. My beloved child, the door closed because their presence was costing you peace. You were looking only at the ache of the ending, but I was looking at the weight of what staying connected was doing inside you. I saw how your spirit became tired. I saw how your prayer life became strained. I saw how your clarity became clouded by trying to understand someone who kept giving you mixed signals. I saw how your confidence weakened, how your obedience trembled, how your identity began to bend around their approval, their attention, their silence, their moods, and their ability to make you feel chosen one moment and uncertain the next. There are relationships that remain emotionally attractive while quietly draining the life I placed within you. They still have memories attached to them. They still have moments that feel warm when you look back. They still have words that your heart wants to believe. They still have pieces of tenderness, pieces of laughter, pieces of possibility, and because of that, you thought the connection must still be worth saving. But my child, not everything that still pulls your emotions is still feeding your spirit. Not everything you miss is something you are meant to return to. Not everything that once comforted you is still carrying my peace. I watched you become less still when they were near. I watched you become less rested when they had access to you. I watched you pray with divided attention because part of your heart was waiting for their message more than waiting for my voice. I watched you adjust your boundaries to keep them close. I watched you explain away discomfort because you did not want to seem difficult. I watched you silence the check in your spirit because the thought of losing them felt heavier than the warning I was giving you. And I did not condemn you for this, but I did begin to intervene. Do not call my protection abandonment. Do not call my pruning cruelty. Do not call the breaking of an illusion a failure. What I allowed to end was not always the thing you thought you were losing. Sometimes you thought you were losing love, but I was removing dependence. Sometimes you thought you were losing companionship, but I was breaking confusion. Sometimes you thought you were losing a future, but I was rescuing your obedience from a path that would have made you smaller, weaker, quieter, and farther from the sound of my voice. There are doors I close through distance. There are doors I close through exposure. There are doors I close through betrayal, through silence, through conflict, through unanswered plans, through delayed responses, through sudden changes, through the loss of access you did not expect. Sometimes I allow the conversation to stop because you would not stop giving your heart to someone who only knew how to take from it. Sometimes I allow the truth to surface in a painful way because repeated warnings could not convince your heart to see what your spirit already sensed. Sometimes I let them reveal themselves, not to humiliate you, but to deliver you from the version of them your hope kept defending. You asked why it had to happen that way. You asked why they could not simply be honest. You asked why the ending had to feel so sharp, so sudden, so confusing, so cold. My beloved child, sometimes a gentle warning is ignored when the attachment is strong. Sometimes a quiet uneasiness is explained away when the longing is deep. Sometimes you needed to see the fruit because you kept trusting the words. You needed to see the inconsistency because your compassion kept covering it. You needed to feel the cost because your loyalty kept calling bondage patience. As it is written, keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it flow the issues of life. I did not command you to guard your heart because I wanted you suspicious, closed, bitter, or afraid. I commanded you to guard your heart because your heart is a wellspring, and what has access to it begins to influence your thoughts, your choices, your desires, your worship, your peace, and the direction of your life. Emotional access is not a small thing. The people you allow near your heart can either strengthen your walk with me or slowly pull your attention away from me. They can either help your spirit breathe or keep you living in anxiety while calling it love. What comes from me will not require you to trade peace for attachment. What comes from me will not demand that you surrender purity to feel wanted. What comes from me will not ask you to abandon obedience so someone will stay. What comes from me will not cause you to lose your voice, your discernment, your confidence, or your nearness to me. True connection may challenge you, but it will not drain you into confusion. True love may stretch you, but it will not make you violate the holy places I am protecting. True companionship may require patience, but it will not keep you begging for crumbs of honor while your soul grows weary. So when the door closed, do not only look at who walked away, look at what returned when they left. Did your breathing become slower? Did your mind begin to clear? Did your prayers begin to rise again? Did you start hearing me without the noise of their inconsistency? Did you begin to remember who you were before you were bending yourself around their presence? That empty space may feel painful now, but it is also telling you the truth. Their absence is revealing how much of your peace had been tied to their behavior. Their silence is revealing how much of your heart had been trained to wait for unstable affection. My child, I closed the door because the connection was taking more from your spirit than it was giving to your life. I closed it because I love the part of you that was becoming exhausted. I closed it because I saw the version of you that would have disappeared if you kept calling the draining love, if you kept calling confusion chemistry, if you kept calling anxiety devotion, if you kept calling their access a blessing while your soul was losing strength. I am not only the God who opens doors, I am also the Father who closes doors when what is behind them is no longer safe for the child I am healing. Let the door remain closed in peace. Let the silence speak what their words refuse to admit. Let the distance finish what your discernment began to understand. You do not have to hate them to be free from them. You do not have to rewrite every memory to obey me now. You only have to stop handing your peace back to what I removed in mercy. Stay with me. Let me restore the strength that was drained from you. Let me teach your heart that love does not have to feel like losing yourself in order to be real. What comes from me will not require you to lose yourself. Hear me, my beloved child, because this is where your heart must become sober without becoming afraid. A connection is not holy simply because it feels powerful. A person is not sent by me simply because their presence awakens something in you. An open door is not always my invitation, and a sudden return is not always my restoration. There are moments when loneliness makes attention feel like answered prayer, when an empty place in your heart makes someone's words sound like confirmation, when the ache of being unseen makes even unstable affection feel like mercy. But I am teaching you to discern the difference between what stirs you and what strengthens you, between what excites your emotions and what guards your soul. True love does not compete with me for the throne of your heart. True love does not draw you away from prayer and then call it passion. True love does not require secrecy, compromise, double-mindedness, or the hiding of what should be brought into the light. True love does not punish you for having boundaries. True love does not make you feel guilty for needing respect, clarity, honesty, and peace. True love does not keep you in fear that one wrong word, one honest feeling, one necessary question, or one holy boundary will make the person withdraw their affection from you. What comes from me will not make you live under emotional threats while calling that devotion. What comes from me will carry peace, purity, freedom, truth, and right timing. What pulls you away from me is not a blessing simply because it feels intense. Remember this, my child. Let it settle into the place where you have been tempted to confuse longing with leading. What comes from me will carry peace, purity, freedom, truth, and right timing. What pulls you away from me is not a blessing simply because it feels intense. If it feeds fear, if it makes you hide, if it keeps you anxious, if it weakens your obedience, if it causes you to become someone you no longer recognize, do not call it my gift because it touched your emotions. I do not want you to live suspicious of every person. I do not want you to become bitter, hard, cold, or afraid to love again. I am not closing your heart. I am training it. I am not removing tenderness from you. I am placing wisdom within it. I am not teaching you to reject love. I am teaching you to test what calls itself love before you build your life around it. Discernment is not fear. Discernment is maturity. Discernment is the steady light that helps you see what your emotions may not want to admit. Discernment is the holy pause that asks, does this draw me closer to God, or does this make me ignore Him so I can keep the connection? As it is written, Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits whether they are of God. Do you hear me, my child? Test the spirit behind the relationship. Test the spirit behind the invitation. Test the spirit behind the apology. Test the spirit behind the promise. Test the spirit behind the sudden return. Test the spirit behind the words that sound humble, but still refuse change. Test the spirit behind the affection that comes back only when you are healing. Test the spirit behind the person who wants access again, but does not want accountability. Not every apology is repentance. Not every message is restoration. Not every return is redemption. Some returns are distractions wearing familiar perfume. When someone comes back, do not only ask if they missed you, ask what spirit is moving through their return. Did they come with truth, humility, fruit, and changed behavior, or did they come with the same confusion wrapped in softer words? Did they come to honor what I healed in you, or did they come because they sensed you were no longer waiting? Did they come to build peace, or to awaken the old cycle? My beloved child, do not let nostalgia make decisions for your future. Do not let one emotional moment erase months of evidence. Do not let the memory of who they seem to be blind you to the fruit of who they have shown themselves to be. There are counterfeit attachments that feel deep because they touch old wounds. There are bonds that feel spiritual because they are intense, but intensity is not the same as covenant. There are people who know how to speak to your loneliness but not how to honor your calling. There are people who can awaken desire but cannot carry responsibility. There are people who can make you feel wanted while pulling you away from purity, peace, and truth. And if keeping them requires losing your nearness to me, then the price is too high. What comes from me will not require you to abandon your identity. What comes from me will not make you apologize for the convictions I placed within you. What comes from me will not ask you to quiet the voice I am restoring in you. What comes from me will not require you to become smaller so someone else can feel unchallenged. What comes from me will not mock your healing, pressure your weakness, rush your timing, or punish your boundaries. Love that comes from me may correct you, but it will not crush you. It may stretch you, but it will not enslave you. It may require patience, but it will not demand the sacrifice of your peace as proof of loyalty. So slow down. Bring every connection into my light. Bring every message, every invitation, every apology, every promise, every stirring, every sudden feeling, and every open door before me. Do not be led only by the warmth you feel when they speak. Do not be led only by the relief you feel when they notice you again. Do not be led only by the fear that no one else will come. I am your Father. I know how to give good gifts. I do not need confusion to bless you. I do not need secrecy to connect you. I do not need fear to keep what is from me in your life. My beloved child, you are becoming steady. You are becoming sober. You are becoming spiritually awake. You will not be moved by every voice that knows how to sound tender. You will not surrender your peace to every person who knows how to awaken longing. You will not call bondage love simply because it feels familiar. Stay close to me, and I will teach you the difference. What is from me will not pull you away from me. What is from me will help your soul breathe, your heart stand upright, your spirit remain clean, and your life move in truth. My beloved child, I removed them before their roots wrapped around your future. You were looking at the pain of separation, but I was looking at the years ahead. You were looking at the conversation that ended, the message that stopped, the door that closed, the affection that changed. But I was looking at what their continued presence would have done to your discernment, your obedience, your calling, your peace, your confidence, and the tender places in you that I am still healing. I see what you cannot see. I see beneath smiles. I see beneath compliments. I see beneath concern that is really control. I see beneath apologies that are meant to regain access but not to produce repentance. I see beneath affection that feels warm for a moment but carries selfishness underneath it. You saw the parts of them that made you hope. I saw the parts of them that would have harmed you if they had remained too long. You saw the softness in their voice, the beauty of certain memories, the way they seemed to understand you in moments, the possibility of what could have been if they had chosen truth, maturity, and love. But I saw the hidden motive beneath the kindness. I saw the envy beneath the compliment. I saw the resentment beneath the silence. I saw the competition beneath the support. I saw the manipulation beneath the apology. I saw the way they wanted access to your heart without reverence for the responsibility that came with it. I know early removal can feel cruel. I know it can feel as though I interrupted something before you had time to understand it. I know your heart grieves not only who they were, but who you hoped they would become. You are not only mourning the person, you are mourning the imagined future, the healed version of them, the softened version of them, the faithful version of them, the version your love kept praying would appear. You are grieving conversations that never happened, apologies that never became fruit, promises that never became consistency, and a future that your heart had already begun to picture before their character had proven it could carry the weight. I do not condemn you for hoping. I do not rebuke you for seeing possibility. But my child, possibility is not the same as fruit. Potential is not the same as obedience. A person may have the ability to change and still refuse the humility required to change. A person may know the right words and still resist the truth behind those words. A person may feel deeply and still love selfishly. A person may apologize and still continue the same pattern. And if I allowed your heart to build covenant with someone whose roots were still tangled in pride, fear, envy, control, secrecy, and instability, the pain later would have been heavier than the pain you feel now. There are removals I allow before attachment becomes covenant. There are separations I permit before compromise becomes normal. There are endings I bring before a wound becomes your identity. There are doors I close before your life becomes shaped around someone I never assigned to lead, cover, guard, or walk beside you. I am not late in what I interrupted. I am not careless in what I allowed to fall away. I stepped in at the place where staying would have cost more than leaving, even though leaving hurt you. I stepped in before the bond became so deep that obedience would feel like tearing your own soul apart. Do you see, my child? A branch may be cut not because the tree is hated, but because fruitfulness is being protected. The pruning blade may look sharp, but it is held by hands that know the harvest. As it is written, every branch that bears fruit, I prune, that it may bear more fruit. Pruning is not punishment. Pruning is not rejection. Pruning is not proof that I have forgotten the tree. Pruning is my way of removing what drains life, what steals strength, what spreads disease, what consumes energy that must now go toward fruit. If I allowed every branch to remain simply because cutting hurts, the tree would become crowded, weakened, and unable to bear what it was created to carry. So do not measure my love only by what I allowed to stay. Measure my love also by what I refused to let remain. There are people I removed because their roots were reaching for places in you they had no right to occupy. They were beginning to wrap around your decisions, your emotions, your sense of worth, your ability to hear me, your willingness to obey, your hope for the future. Little by little, you were beginning to ask what they would think before asking what I had spoken. Little by little, their presence was becoming a filter through which you measured yourself. Little by little, their approval was becoming too powerful, their silence too loud, their inconsistency too consuming. I removed them before their roots wrapped around your future. I removed them before you confused constant anxiety with commitment. I removed them before you built your plans around unstable affection. I removed them before their wounds taught your wounds how to stay wounded. I removed them before your compassion became permission for continued harm. I removed them before you began calling your own disappearance love. What looked sudden to you was not sudden to me. I had been watching. I had been warning. I had been stirring your spirit. I had been letting small signs rise to the surface so your heart could see what your hope did not want to admit. My beloved child, I was not late. I did not wait until everything in you was destroyed. I did not abandon you to the full weight of what that connection could have become. I intervened at the edge of deeper bondage. I intervened before the roots went further. I intervened while your heart could still be restored, while your voice could still return, while your peace could still be rebuilt, while your future could still be guarded from a connection that would have pulled strength out of the very places I am preparing to use. Let the pruning be holy in your eyes. Let the removal become mercy in your understanding. Let the ache teach you, but do not let it name you. What I removed was not stronger than what I promised. What left was not powerful enough to cancel what I am growing in you. Stay near me. Trust my timing. Trust what I saw when you could only see what you felt. I removed them early because I love the future I have spoken over you, and I will not allow hidden roots of bondage to wrap themselves around the promise I am still protecting. Do you see, my child? Separation has always been part of calling. I have never treated separation as a small thing, and I do not speak of it lightly, because I know what it costs the heart to release what once felt close, familiar, comforting, and possible. But throughout the story of my people, you will see this pattern again and again. Before clearer vision, there was often separation. Before greater strength, there was often a cutting away. Before fulfilled purpose, there was often a painful release from what could not travel into the promise. Do not think your story is strange because something had to leave before you could see. Do not think you have been abandoned because I asked your heart to walk through distance. There are promises that become visible only after certain attachments are no longer standing in front of your eyes. Look at Abraham, my child. I called him out, and yet even after he began the journey, there came a moment when separation was still necessary. Lot was near him. Lot had walked with him. Lot was part of what was familiar. But the land could not carry them together in the same way, and strife began to rise. Abraham did not have to hate Lot in order to separate from Lot. He did not have to curse him, condemn him, or pretend there had never been affection. He simply had to recognize that peace and promise required space. And after Lot separated from him, I told Abraham to lift up his eyes and look from the place where he was, northward, southward, eastward, and westward, for all the land that he saw I would give to him. Do you see, my child? Some vision was waiting on the other side of separation. Some promises could not be seen clearly, while the attachment was still too close. Some inheritances are not revealed until the heart is no longer entangled with what cannot carry the same covenant. Do not despise the quiet place after someone leaves. That may be the place where I tell you to lift up your eyes again. That may be the place where your spiritual sight begins to clear. That may be the place where the land I promised you becomes visible without the shadow of another person's confusion standing over it. You thought the separation meant less, but I was making room for you to see more. You thought the distance meant something had been taken, but I was bringing you into a wider understanding. As it is written, after Lot had separated from him, then the Lord said to Abram, "Lift up your eyes." My beloved child, there are times when my word comes with fresh clarity after an attachment has been released. Look also at Joseph. He knew rejection that was sharp, personal, and unjust. He was not rejected by strangers only. He was betrayed by those who shared his blood, those who knew his name, those who should have protected him. They threw him into a pit, sold him, and allowed his father to grieve a lie. To Joseph, it looked like abandonment. To Joseph, it looked like the dream had been buried beneath betrayal. But I was not absent in the pit. I was not absent on the road to Egypt. I was not absent in the house of Potiphar, in the prison, or in the long years when no one seemed to remember him. What people meant as rejection, I used as positioning. What they meant as removal, I used as preservation. What they meant to diminish him, I used to place him where his gift would one day save many lives. So when they walked away from you, when they misunderstood you, when they treated you as though you were easy to discard, do not let their action become the final interpretation of your life. They may have meant it for harm, but I know how to weave even pain into purpose. They may have closed a door in cruelty, but I know how to open a door in timing. They may have pushed you away without honor, but I know how to position you with mercy. Joseph could say, "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." Do you see, my beloved child? I have always known how to separate my people from what would destroy what I placed inside them. I knew how to preserve Joseph's dream even through betrayal, and I know how to preserve what I have placed within you. Look at Nehemiah and let your boundaries become holy. He was rebuilding what had been broken, and while his hands were committed to the wall, voices called him down. They wanted a meeting. They wanted his attention. They wanted him to leave the work and come into a conversation that sounded important but carried distraction underneath it. And Nehemiah answered with wisdom. He said, I am doing a great work so that I cannot come down. Why should the work cease while I leave it and come down to you? My child, not every invitation deserves your presence. Not every message deserves your reply. Not every voice calling you down is worthy of the assignment I have placed in your hands. There are people who will only seek your attention when you begin to rebuild. There are voices that become loud when your peace begins to return. There are invitations that arise just as your focus is becoming steady again. Do not come down from healing to explain yourself to confusion. Do not come down from obedience to entertain old cycles. Do not come down from the wall because someone who ignored your pain now wants access to your progress. I am teaching you that boundaries are not pride when they protect obedience. Silence is not cruelty when it guards the work. Distance is not hatred when it keeps your hands faithful to what I told you to build. And look at Samson, my child, with a sober heart. Learn from his strength and learn from his weakness. He carried a calling. He carried power. He carried something set apart, something not common, something marked by purpose. But affection without alignment became a doorway. Delilah's nearness did not strengthen his consecration. Her words did not guard his calling. Her persistence pressed against the secret of his strength until what was holy became exposed in the lap of what was not aligned with me. Do you see how dangerous it is when affection has access without reverence? Do you see how a connection can feel intimate while secretly weakening the very place I anointed? This is why I have warned you. This is why I closed doors you wanted open. This is why I removed people whose presence made you vulnerable to compromise, secrecy, exhaustion, and the slow surrender of your strength. I am not trying to make you afraid of love. I am teaching you to recognize the difference between love that honors your consecration and affection that drains it. A person can be close to your emotions and far from your assignment. A person can speak tenderly and still pull at the place where your strength is hidden. A person can call it love while drawing you away from the boundaries that keep you whole. Do you see, my beloved child? I have always known how to separate my people from what would destroy what I placed inside them. I separated Abraham into clearer vision. I preserved Joseph through betrayal until the dream stood in authority. I taught Nehemiah to refuse distracting voices while the wall was being rebuilt. I let Samson's story warn you that unaligned affection can expose strength that was meant to be guarded. Therefore, do not call your separation meaningless. Do not call your release wasted. Do not call the distance proof that I have forgotten you. Throughout Scripture, separation often came before sight, before strength, before vindication, before purpose could stand in the open. And now I am teaching you the same holy pattern. Let what left remain in my hands. Let what ended become instruction, not torment. Lift up your eyes from the place where you are. Keep building what I placed before you. Guard the strength I have entrusted to you. Walk with a tender heart, but let that tenderness be covered by wisdom. I am not stripping your life bare. I am clearing your vision. I am strengthening your hands. I am preserving the promise. Now, my beloved child, stop reopening what I closed in mercy. Do not keep standing at a door I have already shut, asking the one who wounded you to explain what their fruit has already revealed. There are answers that do not come through another conversation. There are answers that come through patterns. There are answers that come through absence, through inconsistency, through the way someone handled your heart when they had access to it. I know you wanted words. I know you wanted clarity. I know you wanted them to sit before you with honesty, humility, and sorrow, and name what they did without excuses. But my child, sometimes their refusal to give truth is itself the truth you must stop denying. Do not chase explanations from people whose behavior has already testified. Do not keep begging confusion to become clarity. Do not keep asking someone to define the wound while they are still holding the blade of their pride. I am not asking you to pretend it did not hurt. I am not asking you to act as though their silence was small, as though their departure was easy, as though the unanswered questions did not echo in the quiet places of your heart. I am telling you that freedom begins when you stop fighting to recover what I removed to protect you. Freedom begins when you stop negotiating with the door I closed. Freedom begins when you stop calling your return obedience when it is really fear of grieving what has ended. There are relationships I allowed to die because keeping them alive was slowly draining life from you. There are conversations I ended because every new conversation only reopened the same wound with softer words. There are cycles I interrupted because your heart was becoming trained to accept crumbs and call them covenant, to accept anxiety and call it passion, to accept inconsistency and call it mystery. Do not practice emotional resurrection over what I have already buried. Do not keep breathing your hope into a connection that has no fruit, no repentance, no peace, and no alignment with what I am doing in you. Not every return is restoration. Not every message is mercy. Not every familiar voice is my invitation. When someone comes back after I have healed enough of you to stand, slow down. Do not let the sound of their voice make you forget the cost of their pattern. Do not let one moment of warmth rewrite a long history of confusion. Do not let loneliness put sacred meaning on ordinary contact. Ask me, wait before me. Let truth speak louder than nostalgia. If their return awakens the old fear, the old striving, the old hiding, the old ache, the old need to prove you are worth choosing, then do not ignore what your spirit is showing you. I have not brought you this far so you can return to the same bondage with a more spiritual name. And I know, my child, that you still miss them. I know there are moments when your heart remembers the laughter before it remembers the heaviness, when your mind reaches for the beautiful part and tries to cover the painful part, when a song, a place, a memory, a quiet hour, or a simple thought brings them near again. I do not condemn you for missing someone. Grief is not rebellion. Tears are not proof that you lack faith. Missing them does not mean they were meant to remain. Loving them does not mean they were safe for your life. Remembering what was tender does not erase what was harmful. Grief does not cancel discernment. You can miss someone and still obey me. You can love what was good and still release what was not from me. You can bless them in my hands and still refuse to place your heart back under their pattern. You can grieve without returning. You can forgive without reopening access. You can release without pretending that the wound did not matter. My beloved child, maturity is not the absence of feeling. Maturity is bringing every feeling beneath truth until your emotions learn to rest where my wisdom has already spoken. Let them go. Release the image you created. Release the apology you never received. Release the version of them you kept defending while your spirit was becoming tired. Release the future you built in your mind before their character had proven it could carry it. Release the need for them to finally understand how deeply they hurt you before you allow yourself to heal. Release the argument you keep rehearsing. Release the message you keep rewriting. Release the fantasy that one perfect conversation will give you back the peace you lost while trying to keep them close. I am not asking you to release because they were meaningless. I am asking you to release because they became too costly. I am not asking you to release because your love was false. I am asking you to release because your love was being spent in a place where truth was not honored. I am not asking you to release because you are weak. I am asking you to release because I am making you free. As it is written, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. The truth may hurt at first, my child, because truth removes the veil. Truth may cause you to weep because it names what hope kept softening. Truth may feel sharp because it separates what you wanted from what was real. But truth does not wound you to destroy you. Truth opens the prison door. Do not be afraid of the truth I am showing you. The truth that they were not able to love you rightly is not proof that you are unlovable. The truth that they left is not proof that you were too much. The truth that they could not honor your heart is not proof that your heart has no value. It means I am teaching you to stop placing holy things into unguarded hands. It means I am training you to discern fruit over feeling, peace over pursuit, truth over fantasy, and obedience over attachment. So stop going back to the closed door to see if it still hurts. Stop reopening the wound to check if they have changed while refusing to look at the fruit. Stop calling old bondage familiar love. Stop asking the past for permission to enter the future. Bring the ache to me. Bring the questions to me. Bring the grief, the anger, the longing, the loneliness, and the unfinished conversations to me. I know how to hold what they mishandled. I know how to answer what they avoided. I know how to heal what they touched carelessly. Walk away in peace, my beloved child, not in bitterness, not in pride, not in vengeance. Walk away because I have spoken. Walk away because your soul is worth guarding. Walk away because what I closed in mercy must not be reopened in fear. Let the door remain shut. Let the dead thing remain buried. Let the truth make you free. I am not emptying your life to leave you alone. I am clearing your heart so you can breathe again, hear again, pray again, stand again, and receive what will not require you to abandon yourself in order to keep it. My beloved child, the empty space they left is not proof that I took too much from you. It is the room where I am restoring what you could not hear while their presence was loud in your soul. It is the room where your breathing is becoming steady again, where your prayers are beginning to rise again, where your sleep will return without the weight of unanswered questions pressing on your chest. Do not despise the quiet simply because it feels unfamiliar. Do not call the absence punishment when I am using the absence as a place of healing. Some spaces feel empty only because they are no longer filled with anxiety. Some rooms feel silent only because confusion has finally stopped speaking over my voice. I know loneliness can make deliverance feel like loss. I know there are hours when you look around and wonder if I remove too much, if the silence is too wide, if the days are too still, if the place they occupied will ache forever. But listen to me, my child. I did not create this space to torment you. I created this space to give back to you what that connection kept taking. Your peace is returning here. Your discernment is returning here. Your identity is returning here. Your ability to choose without fear, to rest without waiting for a message, to pray without emotional noise, to wake without heaviness, to laugh without needing someone's approval, is returning here. There are things I restore in quiet that cannot be restored in chaos. There are parts of your voice that could not come back while you were always explaining, always adjusting, always trying to be understood, always measuring the temperature of someone else's affection. Your voice became smaller because you were trying to keep peace with what was disturbing your peace. Your decisions became uncertain because you kept asking yourself how they would respond before asking what I had spoken. Your joy became dependent because you began to feel steady only when they were warm, only when they replied, only when they noticed, only when they made you feel chosen for a moment. But I am breaking that dependence gently. I am teaching your soul to stand again. Do not be afraid of this hidden season. Hidden does not mean forgotten. Quiet does not mean abandoned. Covered does not mean buried. The seed is hidden before the harvest is seen. The root grows beneath the ground before the tree spreads above it. I am making you deeper before I make you wider. I am rebuilding places in you that were stretched thin by emotional striving. I am strengthening the inner life that no one sees. The place where motives are purified, where desires are reordered, where your heart learns again that I am enough before I add anything else. You wanted the ache to leave quickly, but I am doing more than removing pain. I am restoring order. I am restoring your appetite for prayer. Not prayer that begs me to bring back what I removed, but prayer that rests in my wisdom. I am restoring your confidence in decisions, so you will not need 10 signs from unstable people before you obey the one word I have already given. I am restoring joy without dependency, so your smile will not be held hostage by another person's inconsistency. I am restoring your ability to hear my voice without the interference of fear, fantasy, nostalgia, and emotional urgency. As it is written, the peace of God, which passes all understanding, shall guard your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. Do you see, my beloved child? My peace is not weak. My peace is not passive. My peace is not merely a soft feeling that visits you for a moment and leaves when circumstances change. My peace guards. My peace stands at the gate of your heart. My peace watches over your mind when old thoughts try to return. My peace rises when anxiety knocks. My peace warns you when something familiar carries the same old bondage. My peace protects the place where your discernment is being rebuilt. This is why I am teaching you to value peace more than attention. Attention can excite you and still drain you. Attention can flatter you and still confuse you. Attention can make you feel wanted while quietly pulling you away from me. But my peace will guard you. My peace will help you recognize what your loneliness may try to excuse. My peace will teach you that not every open door is mercy. Not every returning voice is restoration. Not every emotional stirring is confirmation. What comes from me will not require you to surrender the guard I have placed over your heart. Let the empty space become holy. Let it become a place where you sleep again without rehearsing conversations. Let it become a place where you eat again without heaviness sitting beside you. Let it become a place where your room feels peaceful, your mind feels clear, your prayer feels honest, your laughter feels free. Your body no longer carries the constant tension of trying to keep someone who was not keeping your heart with honor. I am not merely removing them from your life. I am removing the noise they left inside you. And I am preparing you, my child. I am not making you hard. I am not teaching you to fear every hand, doubt every voice, or lock every door of your heart. I am teaching you guarded tenderness. A tender heart is still precious to me. A loving heart is still beautiful before me. But a precious garden must have a holy fence. You will love again, but you will love with discernment. You will trust again, but you will not ignore fruit. You will open again, but you will not abandon wisdom at the sound of gentle words. You will be kind without becoming available to every need. You will be compassionate without giving untested people authority over your peace. The next season will require a heart that is healed enough to love and wise enough to test. It will require you to listen when peace withdraws, to pause when something feels unclear, to bring every connection before me before you call it destiny. Do not rush out of the quiet because you are afraid of being alone. Let me finish what I am restoring. Let me strengthen your voice until it no longer trembles when you say no. Let me restore your discernment until you can recognize the difference between love that honors me and affection that competes with me. Let me rebuild your joy until it rests in me first. My beloved child, the space they left is not empty in my hands. It is becoming a sanctuary. It is becoming a place of renewal. It is becoming the ground where your peace takes root again, where your voice returns, where your discernment becomes clear, where your heart learns to be tender without being unguarded. Stay with me here. Do not run from the quiet. Do not fill the space too quickly. I am with you in it. I am covering you in it. I am preparing you in it. And what I restore in this hidden place will make you stronger, wiser, freer, and ready for what will not require you to lose yourself again. You will love again, my beloved child, but you will not abandon yourself again. You will not hand your peace to untested hands simply because they know how to speak tenderly. You will not silence the wisdom I placed within you because someone's attention feels warm for a moment. You will not call confusion, mystery, anxiety, passion, inconsistency, timing, or control devotion. I am teaching you a new way to carry your heart. Not a cold way, not a suspicious way, not a bitter way, a whole way, a guarded way, a way where love remains alive, but wisdom stands at the gate. Do not think I am removing love from you. I am not taking away the tenderness that made you care deeply, give sincerely, forgive quickly, and hope beautifully. That tenderness did not offend me. That tenderness was never your shame. But I am placing a holy fence around the garden of your heart, because what is precious must not remain without covering. A garden without a fence can be trampled by feet that do not value what grows there. A heart without discernment can be entered by people who enjoy its fruit but do not honor its soil. I am not destroying the garden, my child. I am protecting it. I am not drying up your love. I am teaching your love where to rest, where to wait, where to open, and where to remain still. You are becoming tender without being easily pulled away. You are becoming kind without being controlled. You are becoming forgiving without surrendering wisdom. You are becoming open without ignoring warning signs. This is the work I am doing in you. You once believed that loving someone meant giving them endless access, endless chances, endless explanations, endless room to wound you and call your patience proof of your devotion. But now I am teaching you that love without truth becomes bondage. Forgiveness without boundaries becomes exhaustion, and compassion without discernment can become a doorway for repeated harm. My child, what comes from me will not require you to leave yourself behind. It will not require you to shrink your voice until you no longer recognize it. It will not require you to pretend you do not see what I have shown you. It will not require you to lose sleep, lose purity, lose peace, lose prayer, lose nearness to me, or lose the quiet dignity I placed upon your life. What comes from me may stretch you, but it will not spiritually starve you. What comes from me may challenge you, but it will not confuse your identity. What comes from me may require patience, but it will not demand that you ignore fruit. So pause before attaching, pray before committing, watch fruit more than words. Let peace, purity, consistency, and alignment confirm what emotion cannot prove. Do not let your heart run ahead of your spirit because someone sounds like what you prayed for. Do not let loneliness become the interpreter of a connection. Do not let chemistry become your counselor. Bring every name before me. Bring every invitation before me. Bring every return, every apology, every new beginning. Every familiar voice, every sudden warmth, and every open door before my presence. Ask me what is hidden beneath what feels beautiful. Ask me what fruit has been growing while the words have been speaking. Ask me whether this connection draws you nearer to me or quietly pulls your attention away from me. As it is written, keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Do you see, my beloved child? I did not tell you to guard your heart because your heart is evil. I told you to guard it because your heart is valuable. I did not tell you to guard it because love is dangerous in itself. I told you to guard it because not everyone who desires access carries honor. Not everyone who wants your warmth is able to steward your trust. Not everyone who misses your presence has changed their pattern. Not everyone who returns has repented, and not everyone who says they love you is submitted to the love that comes from me. There will be some who notice when you become stronger. There will be some who return when your voice no longer trembles, when your peace no longer depends on their response, when your joy begins to rise without their permission. Some will be drawn back to the light they once mishandled. Some will miss the version of you that was easier to control. Some will come near because they sense that you are no longer waiting at the old door. My child, when they return, do not let nostalgia govern access. Do not let memory sit on the throne. Do not let one soft conversation erase a season of fruit. Access must be governed by me, not by longing. Access must be governed by truth, not by the ache of what could have been. I do not forbid you to forgive. I command you to forgive. But forgiveness is not the same as returning to bondage. Forgiveness releases the debt into my hands. It does not automatically reopen the gate of your life. Forgiveness keeps your heart clean. It does not require your discernment to sleep. Forgiveness blesses without hatred. It does not pretend that patterns were harmless. Let me teach you the difference. Let me show you when to bless from a distance, when to answer with restraint, when to remain silent, when to walk away, and when to allow trust to be rebuilt slowly by fruit that can endure the light. You are not less worthy because someone left. Their departure did not reduce your value. Their inability to remain did not measure your beauty. Their inconsistency did not define your desirability. Their rejection did not become your name. You are more awake because I revealed what could not remain. You are more discerning because I uncovered what emotion could not see. You are more protected because I interrupted what would have continued taking from you. Do not call awakening a loss. Do not call the breaking of an illusion a failure. Do not call my protection abandonment. My beloved child, I am not making you hard. I am making you whole. I am not teaching you to punish everyone for what someone else did. I am teaching you to recognize peace when it is real, purity when it is present, consistency when it is humble, and alignment when it bears my spirit. You will love again, but your love will no longer be desperate. You will trust again, but your trust will no longer be blind. You will open again, but your opening will be guided by wisdom. You will forgive again, but your forgiveness will no longer be used as a key by those who refuse transformation. Walk forward with guarded tenderness. Let your heart remain soft before me and wise before people. Let your kindness be holy. Let your yes be prayerful. Let your no be peaceful. Let your silence be obedient. Let your love be free from fear. I have not emptied you of love. I have restored love to its proper place. I have placed wisdom beside tenderness, truth beside compassion, peace beside desire, and discernment beside hope. And what I am forming in you now will be able to receive what is true, without bowing again to what is counterfeit. Now, my beloved child, bring it all before me. Bring the betrayal you tried to understand, the rejection you tried not to feel, the confusion you carried in silence, and the grief you kept folding away because you thought healing meant no longer admitting that it hurt. Bring the names. Bring the memories. Bring the conversations that still echo. Bring the doors that closed without explanation. Bring the places in your heart where you still wonder whether you were too much, whether you did something wrong, whether love would have stayed if you had been different. I am not asking you to hide your ache from me. I am asking you to place it in my hands where it can finally stop ruling you. Do not pray as one who is ashamed to have loved. Pray as one who is ready to be healed. Do not come before me pretending you do not care. Come with your care, your tears, your disappointment, your unanswered questions, your trembling hope, and let them bow before my wisdom. There is a healing that begins when the heart stops arguing with my protection. There is a peace that rises when you stop asking the closed door to become your proof of worth. There is a freedom that enters when you can say, even while your heart still aches, Father, I release what you removed. Father, I trust what you saw. Father, I agree with your mercy, even when my emotions are still learning to rest. So speak this from the deepest place within you, not as empty words, but as surrender. Father, I release the wrong people, the false promises, the forced connections, the unanswered questions, and every attachment that kept me from peace. I release what I tried to hold after you had already shown me its fruit. I release what made me anxious, what made me small, what made me doubt the voice you placed within me. I release the need to be chosen by those who could not honor what you were protecting. I release the version of love that required me to abandon myself in order to feel wanted. My beloved child, let those words go down into the places where you have still been gripping what wounded you. Let them touch the hidden chambers where you kept hoping the past would return with a different heart. Let them touch the place where you kept measuring your value by someone else's absence, someone else's silence, someone else's inconsistency, someone else's inability to remain. No more begging for access. No more standing outside the life of someone who treated your presence as common. No more shrinking your dignity to fit inside a connection I did not bless. No more calling rejection what I call rescue. No more calling abandonment what I call deliverance. No more calling the breaking of bondage the breaking of your worth. I speak healing over your heart. I speak peace over the places where anxiety became familiar. I speak truth over the places where lies attach themselves to your identity. You are not unwanted because someone left. You are not forgotten because someone failed to see you. You are not unlovable because someone mishandled your tenderness. You are mine. You are seen. You are covered. You are being restored in places no human hand can reach. I am healing the part of you that begged to be understood by those who benefited from misunderstanding you. I am healing the part of you that apologized for needing honesty. I am healing the part of you that confused pursuit with love, intensity with covenant, and attention with safety. Now ask me for discernment, my child. Ask me for eyes that see fruit clearly and a spirit that does not bow to charm. Ask me for holy boundaries that do not tremble when loneliness speaks. Ask me for peace that guards your heart and mind. Ask me for courage to trust my removal, even when your memories still feel tender. Ask me to restore your identity until you no longer need the return of the wrong person to feel whole. Ask me to make your yes clean, your no peaceful, your waiting steady, and your love wise. As it is written, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives generously. So ask. I am not withholding wisdom from you. I am teaching you how to receive it without resisting the truth it brings. Father, give me discernment. Give me boundaries that are rooted in peace and not bitterness. Give me courage to stop reopening what you closed. Give me strength to release what my emotions still reach for. Restore my voice. Restore my joy. Restore my confidence in your leading. Teach me to trust your hand even when your protection first feels like loss. Teach me to bless what left without inviting it back into the place you are healing. Teach me to walk forward without fear, without pride, without revenge, and without the need to prove that I was worth loving. And I receive that prayer, my beloved child, as surrender. I receive the trembling words. I receive the tears that come with them. I receive the silence when you do not know what else to say. I am not far from the brokenhearted. I am near. I am near enough to gather what fell apart. I am near enough to bind what was torn. I am near enough to lead you out of the valley without letting bitterness become your companion. What was removed in pain will be understood through peace. What confused you in the moment will one day become part of the testimony of my protection. You will look back and see that I was not taking your future away from you. I was guarding it. The dawn is rising, my child. The night did not win because someone left. The promise did not die because a connection ended. I will complete what I began in you. I will finish the healing I started. I will restore the peace that was disturbed, the dignity that was shaken, the discernment that was clouded, and the tenderness that was bruised. Bless the hands that released what was never yours to keep, not because the wound was small, but because my mercy was greater. Bless them into my hands. Release them from your grasp. Let your heart agree with my protection, and walk in peace, knowing that what I removed could not remain where I am preparing you to stand. Walk in peace, my beloved child. You were not rejected from your future. You were separated from what could not enter it. You were not pushed out of the promise. You were pulled away from what would have polluted your peace while I was preparing you for what I had spoken. Do not look at the empty place and call it defeat. Do not look at the closed door and call it abandonment. Do not look at the silence and call it proof that I forgot you. I was there in the leaving. I was there in the breaking. I was there in the moment your heart could not understand why something you loved was no longer allowed to remain. It was not rejection. It was rescue. It was not abandonment. It was covering. It was not loss. It was divine redirection. I removed what was draining you, because I am restoring what belongs to you. I closed what confused you because I am leading you into clarity. I separated you from counterfeit love because I am teaching your heart to recognize what carries my peace. What left your life did not have the power to cancel what I promised. What walked away did not walk away with your destiny. What released you did not take your worth. What ended did not end my plan. So lift your head gently, breathe again. Let your soul come out of the posture of begging and return to the posture of trust. You do not have to chase what I have already removed. You do not have to prove your value to what could not honor your heart. You do not have to keep standing at a door that I closed in mercy. Walk forward with clean hands, a guarded heart, a restored voice, and a quiet confidence that I am still leading you. And if this word has touched the place where betrayal, separation, or heartbreak has been aching, speak this in agreement. I was not rejected. God rescued me. Leave your prayer request, and let the healing begin in the light. Share this message with someone who is grieving a closed door and needs to remember that my protection can first feel like pain. And stay near for more words that help you discern my hand in painful seasons, because I am teaching you to see mercy even in what I remove. Remember, what I remove from your hands cannot cancel what I have written over your life.